Spawn Associates was founded in 1976. As a specialty subcontractor, we run about 350 jobs a year, and we specialize in architectural wall panels, ornamental metals, railings, skylights, windows.
Acumatica Construction Edition not only gave them the best-in-class industry-specific tools and cloud, but also allowed their finance and their operational team to really mold it to their business.
It's going to make us a lot more efficient because it's one place for everyone in the organization to go to get information.
All of our guys out in the field are using the mobile app to do their expense receipts. Much easier now that you can just take a picture, put in the information. It just takes a few seconds.
Acumatica puts you at your desk for the most part at home. There's no different from sitting behind your computer at the desk in the office as it is sitting at home on your kitchen table.
Acumatica Construction Edition is scalable, customizable, and specific to the construction industry.
Hello, and welcome to the Construction Edition overview with 2021 R1 Review, presented by Joel Hoffman and Mike Gillum. Joel Hoffman is a Senior Product Manager for Construction at Acumatica, and Mike Gillum is a Product Specialist for Construction at Acumatica. Before we begin, if you have any questions during this presentation, please enter them via the live discussion area on the right part of your screen. We will get to as many questions as we can via the text chat and questions area. If we cannot get to your question, we will respond individually after the event. If you are experiencing any technical issues, please click on the Help Desk button. This session will be available on demand after the event. Here are the things you'll be seeing in our presentation. We'll be showing an overview of Acumatica Construction Edition and the enhanced Procore integration. We'll also walk you through a pay-when-paid workflow, discuss our CFMA relationship, and financial features. Acumatica's Construction Edition is a complete cloud construction ERP, connecting field, office, and remote workers real-time with cloud and mobile construction and accounting software. With Acumatica's Construction Edition, contractors can connect their business spanning from sales, inventory, and materials management to projects, financial, payroll, service management, and more. Teams can streamline and automate repeatable tasks, increasing overall efficiency and minimizing opportunities for errors. Managers can make faster, smarter decisions. Employees can collaborate in a more productive and agile way. Cloud technology, especially construction and accounting in the cloud, gives you total visibility into your business. Real-time dashboards enable you to keep projects on track and on budget by logging in from anywhere at any time. As a result, your firm can increase its profitability. By defining key project metrics, making them visible to your entire team, and measuring them as each project progresses, you can reduce risk, increase productivity, and improve customer satisfaction. Staying on track and on budget, making quick, fast-paced decisions, and achieving greater profitability. Let's jump into the software for a demonstration. As you can see, I've already logged into the Acumatica Construction Edition. The Construction Edition is a role-based construction management offering. So depending on a person's role in your organization will determine what he or she has access to in the software. Whenever you log in, you're going to have a home page. In this particular example, I'm showing a project overview dashboard as my home page. This project overview dashboard provides a 30,000-foot view into what's happening on my construction projects. This may be something a construction manager, a C-level executive, management within your organization keeps as their home page so they can get a live look into what's happening on their projects. This particular dashboard has multiple dashboard widgets, as you can see on the screen: tables and charts, graphs, embedded web pages, tables again, gross profit by project, contract status by project. I have the ability to drill down with these hyperlinks into the details behind the scenes. I can get to the open committed costs. I can hover over the remaining estimate by percentage by project and see right there at a glance without having to drill down into multiple screens what's happening live on my construction projects. This job site camera is a live look into the field. I can be anywhere in the world and have access into my projects. Lots of our customers will have multiple projects ongoing at the same time. They may have a big 75-inch television in their boardroom where they can have a live look into every single project from wherever they are, whether they're working remotely, in the office, out in the field, traveling, on an airplane. They have access to all that information at their fingertips. And like I mentioned, they can drill down into the information behind the scenes. These dashboards are being fed by a single report, multiple reports, perhaps a generic inquiry behind the scenes. Let's take a look at another construction-specific dashboard for project managers. So if I am a project manager in the organization, when I log into the software, perhaps this is my home page. So as a PM, I'm able to see what's happening on my project specific to what I am managing. I can use these menu items here to drill down into my active projects. Which projects have a low billing ratio? Which projects am I underutilizing employees? Do I have any late project tasks? Here's another example of an embedded web page showing the weather. If I'm mobilizing crews or equipment from job site to job site, weather's an important factor. I can utilize this embedded web page on this dashboard to understand what's happening with the weather today, tomorrow, and in the future. As I scroll down a little bit further, looking at things like project issues. First thing I do in the morning is walk the job site. Last thing I do at the end of the day is walk the job site. I can create project issues and notify everyone on my team what's happening. I can then convert those project issues into an RFI, into a change request or change order as part of the change management workflow throughout Acumatica. Seeing things like daily field reports, keeping track of everything happening on my project, from issues to change orders to time cards to which subcontractors were on the job site. Everything culminates in those daily field reports, which I can drill down from right from this dashboard. Which items are waiting for my approval? I can take a look at my budget and expenses on these dashboards. So again, very easy to configure, very easy to get to the information right at your fingertips. Over here on the left-hand side, these are what we call workspaces. Each one of these workspaces contains a set of menu items. For example, if I go to the projects workspace, this is where all of my construction-specific project reports, inquiries, profiles live in the system. If I switch over to the payroll workspace, this is where I'm going to manage my construction payroll, union reporting, checking in on pay stubs, PTO, check registers, all the different reports and things that I have to do with my construction payroll. I have the ability to do that right from this workspace. And again, keep in mind, this is role-based, so I'm only going to have access to this if I have the rights to do so in the system, all controlled by the deep security settings throughout Acumatica. If I am on the project management side, I've just clicked on the project management workspace. This is where I can create and manage things like RFIs, project issues, drawing logs, daily field reports, photo logs for those job site progress photos, and last but not least, submittals. Again, all part of the Construction Edition, all part of these workspaces. Let's jump in and take a look at a live project in the system. So now I've clicked over into a project that I am managing in the system, and this screen is really unique from a construction accounting ERP package. If you'll notice the tabs running across the middle here, I don't have to go to 5 or 6 or 7 different screens to access everything related to this project. I'm setting up the project here. I'm managing my cost budget, my revenue budget, any commitments, purchase orders, subcontracts, all live right within this commitments tab on the project. I can drill down and manage my POs and subcontracts. I can attach third-party documents at the line level or up here at the project level. Multiple ways to attach documents in Acumatica. Drag and drop from email, drag and drop from your desktop. Again, the ability to always get to the information at your fingertips. And because this is a true cloud solution, everything's happening in real time. The office and the field are being kept up to date with the same information. Managing the change order process, all part of the projects window. If I click over here on invoices, all of my pro forma or draft invoices, all of the AR invoices, all being managed right here from within the projects window itself. And one of these tabs here is the balances tab. This is a mini P&L for the project. I can see the income side, the expense side. Where are we with our original amounts compared to revised or committed? What's happening with our change orders and our budgeted change orders? Where are we with our actual costs? And one of the really cool things here is we can drill down. If I want to see what makes up this labor line, I can click labor and click view transactions, and now it's going to open up all of the transactions that make up that particular expense that I just drilled into. So in this case, we're looking at all of the time cards associated with this project. So I'm seeing my crew time from a crew time entry perspective. I'm seeing individual time, the cost code it's associated with, the task it's associated with, the rates, the number of hours. And as I scroll to the right, you're seeing I can even drill down to the GL batch number. And if I get a little bit further right, the time card itself. So right from within the project's balances tab, I can get to all the information I need right at my fingertips. Even managing things like compliance, safety certificates, lien waivers, hazardous material certs. Has it expired? Is it required? Am I waiting on it from the vendor? Even tying it to your billings and saying if a vendor is not compliant, they will not be paid. All part of the Acumatica Construction Edition, all part of the projects window that we're taking a look at here. The last couple of things I want to share with you today is this project WIP report. So within a project WIP report, I can run a work in progress report across all active projects or a single project. I'm just going to click run report. Now we're looking at WIP, project WIP across multiple active projects. I can see contract amounts, estimated costs. As I scroll slowly to the right, our gross profit and percentage. Then we get into our actuals, billings to date, costs to date, percent complete, under over billings, forecasted, what's remaining on that contract, what's in my revenue backlog. And if I want to drill down and see the details for any of these, I can just click on the hyperlink, and now we're looking at a WIP detailed report with tasks and cost codes. It's that simple. I don't have to generate a new report, go to another screen. Now I can see it at whatever work breakdown structure level I've set up on my project. Here's another example of a generic inquiry, a project summary report. So showing me all the projects in the system, seeing the revised estimate, cost to date, open committed costs, what's remaining on the estimate, what's the original contract, approved contract change orders, all built into the system, all part of the Acumatica Construction Edition. Also, one thing I want to point out before we jump out of this demonstration is all this information you're seeing here in the browser is also available on the Acumatica mobile app. So if you're out in the field and you prefer working from the app, you have the complete flexibility to do so. I'd like to thank you for joining me on this demonstration of the Acumatica Construction Edition. Okay, let's talk about the Acumatica Construction Edition and Procore integration along with enhancements. On the right-hand side of the screen, you're seeing Acumatica Construction Edition in blue, Procore there in orange. The arrows are depicting the synchronization of data between the two products. Things like vendors and customers, companies, vendor insurances, cost codes, projects, subjobs, tasks, project cost codes, cost types, and project budgets, syncing bidirectionally between the two products, couple of one-way streets from commitments in Procore syncing to Acumatica Construction, commitment change orders from Procore to Acumatica, commitment insurances, bi-directional integration there, and project transactions are syncing from Acumatica to Procore. In a second, I'll show you a live view into the Procore integration and some of this new functionality, including the bullet points you're seeing here, like bidirectional syncing was added to vendors, customers, project info, insurances, ultimately sharing more information between Procore and Acumatica. We also added the ability to automate the synchronization schedule. So instead of a manual process, this allows customers to determine when information should be updated or synchronized between Acumatica and Procore. The flexibility here allows customers to set up different schedules. For example, you may want your vendors syncing every day, once a day at 6 a.m. Perhaps you want projects or project budget information synchronizing every 30 minutes. You now get to pick and choose when and how that happens using those automated schedules. We also added automation to eliminate prior manual steps to update both solutions, so not having to do it in both Acumatica and Procore, happening once, updating both products. We increased the messaging, which allows clients to see what was synchronized and what may need a little bit more attention. We also revised some of the screens to simplify the user experience. Some cleanup work was done there. So what I'd like to do now, like I just mentioned, is jump live into the Acumatica Construction Edition and Procore integration. So now, as you can see, I'm already inside of Acumatica Construction Edition. On the left-hand side, I'm on the Procore integration workspace. And this is where the processes of synchronization happens on the Acumatica side. The first thing I want to do is jump into the Procore integration preferences. And you'll see some changes here where we've cleaned up how and when this information gets synchronized and what information you get to pick and choose where it's coming from. Let's take a look at vendors and customers. So here, you're seeing the automatic sync rules where I can pick and choose which is the master system. Do I want Acumatica or Procore to be the master system for, in this case, vendors and customers? I've chosen Acumatica as that master system. I can then turn on or off how I want to update, export, or import that type of information. If I click over here to projects as an example, I've chosen Procore as my master system. I'm going to kick those projects off on the Procore side and send them back to Acumatica. So I want my PMs working in Procore on the project side, updating all of that back into Acumatica. And again, I've got rules here of how I want, when I want that information to export, update, or import, and then which entities do I want to synchronize. For example, in this case, I'm synchronizing tasks all the way through project transactions, but you get the choice to pick and choose how you want that information to synchronize. And that goes for all these tabs across here, all the different entities that I just previously mentioned, like cost codes, tasks, account groups, insurances, etc. You get to pick and choose who's the master system of record and how and what type of information you want to synchronize back and forth. So let's go in and take a look. I'm going to click on the vendors and customers synchronization, and this is going to pop up the vendors and customers list that I currently have on the Acumatica side. So now that list is populated, and on the left-hand side, I'm seeing all of the items, all of the vendors and or customers that I've added in Acumatica that I can choose to sync with Procore. And like I said earlier, we could choose to set up a schedule for this to happen automatically behind the scenes without any manual intervention. From a manual process, just for the sake of a demo, I'm going to show you how this works. I can go through and choose to synchronize all of these vendors and or customers, or I can say I only want this one and this one, pick and choose which ones I want. For this demonstration, I have created a new vendor in the Acumatica product that I want to synchronize with Procore. Before we do that, on the right-hand side, I want to point out this synchronization log. This is going to be your system of record, your audit trail of what and when and how the data synced. So right now I've got a tick box showing only the last synchronization. If I untick that, it's now showing all of the synchronizations that I've previously made. And one thing I want to point out about the messages we added as part of the enhancements, if I hover over this error, it's going to tell me what happened, right? Previously, you may not have known, you just knew that it didn't synchronize, but now we're saying the export was not executed. The company with the same name already exists in Procore. So we're giving you more information to go and adjust or make changes to the data that you're trying to synchronize. I'm going to go ahead and tick this back. And now all I have to do is select this company and click export. It's now going through the process of synchronizing this information from Acumatica to Procore. In just a second, we'll see on the right-hand side our synchronization log update with this new company. And here it is. There's the company that we just synchronized from Acumatica to Procore. And now we're given a Procore record ID. So I can look at this company in Acumatica by clicking the hyperlink. I can also just click on this hyperlink here on the Procore side, and now it's actually going to open up the Procore product for us and take us directly to that vendor inside of Procore. So now we're in Procore. Here's the company that we created in Acumatica that we just synchronized. We did it manually. It could have been an automated sync, like I said. And here's all the information that pulled out of Acumatica and into Procore. And one of the really nice things I like about this integration is this green chain link. It's a nice visual indicator letting the user know that this information has been synchronized with the Acumatica ERP product. So now that we're in Procore, let's go ahead and jump into a company. So now into a project, I should say. So now I'm in Procore. I've chosen a project that's already been synchronized between Acumatica and Procore. And I'm on the commitments page in Procore. So this is where my purchase orders and subcontracts live. You can see here the green indicator, that chain link, letting me know I've synced this PO and that subcontract. But I've got a couple here that are new. I've got a pool tile purchase order, lobby flooring purchase order, and then a guest pool subcontract that I created in Procore that is not yet in Acumatica. So all I need to do is go back into Acumatica, go to the Procore integration, and we'll start with the purchase order synchronization. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. I've got my project selected up here, and we'll make sure we've got the right project. I'm going to click import. There are those two commitments, those two purchase orders, the pool tile and the lobby flooring, new in Procore, not yet in Acumatica. So again, I can pick and choose how I want and when I want them to sync, but all I need to do is I can choose one of those or both. I'm just going to choose both. I'm going to go ahead and click import. And now again, with our synchronization log, we see the last two syncs that I made here. And now we're going to have a new synchronization with those two new purchase orders now existing in both Procore and Acumatica because of this simple synchronization we just did. So we had the Procore record IDs already, but now we have the purchase orders themselves in Acumatica. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that purchase order. It's going to open up the purchase order window. We're going to see header information around the PO at the top, detailed information below. So here's that pool tile purchase order, which I can now manage that process on the Acumatica side. I can put it on hold. I can go through an approval process. I can enter the PO receipt, enter the AP bill, everything I need to do from a financial perspective here in Acumatica. I've got the exact same process, same steps. If I go to subcontract synchronization now, and we pull up that same project, and I click on import, we're going to see that subcontract, right? That guest pool subcontract sitting here waiting for us. We created it on the Procore side. It automatically shows up in Acumatica, and now I need to decide, do I want to synchronize it? Yes, I do. I put that tick box there. I click import, and now in our synchronization log here, we're going to see that subcontract with a new subcontract ID, just like we saw on the purchase order, show up here in Acumatica. Very simple, Great enhancements made to the Procore Acumatica Construction Edition integration.
Now that you've seen a high level of Acumatica Construction Edition, I want to take you through a common scenario that our customers come to us with and how Acumatica helps them solve those issues. Today's scenario I want to talk about is accounts payable and subcontract processing, how that ties to the commitments on the projects. And some of the items that we'll cover is visibility of project related commitments and how that ties out to accounts payables. A little bit about that pay when paid process that's going through. Hey, now I got paid. Let's make sure we pay the subcontractors, and just ways that Acumatica helps folks track adjustments, or if you have to do any kind of back charges to a particular subcontract. Because overall, what we've heard is that our contractors, they need to track the commitments, know where things stand throughout the project, getting notified when compliance documentation is needed. An example of that would be expiring insurance certificates. Let users know or get alerted when overbilled work comes in, meaning a subcontract is billing you for more than that agreed upon pricing. And then again, the pay when paid process, which we'll walk through in some examples there, and then the back charge functionality. So let's take a look at what the software can do. Let's take a look at the Historical Society and the Automotive Museum that we're working on. As you'll see on your screen, we're looking at the overall project information. What I've done is I've selected the Commitments tab. So here are all of our current subcontracts. If we had purchase orders, we'd have that information available to us. It lets you easily see what those outstanding contracts are, and if I wanted to see the details of any particular item, I can simply click on the hyperlink, and that'll bring me right into that particular subcontract agreement. One of those items we talked about earlier was the compliance warning. So you'll see things throughout the application that let us go in there and say, hey, in this particular case, detail carpentry has expired compliance items, and allows us to address that during the subcontract creation or other areas like the subcontract invoicing and how things are being done. So those types of visual tools help our users determine what is going on with particular, in this case, subcontract agreements. But let's talk about, hey, we have these particular agreements. What do we have? And the scenario of, I want to be able to see what items I have. So not only do I have the details here within a particular project console, if you will, where I can look at everything at one spot, but as I'm looking at things, I can go out and maybe I want to go out and run the particular open projects report for accounts payable. Whether I do it for a particular project or I run it for all projects. In this case, I'll say, hey, let's go ahead and see what we have for that particular project. Again, taking us through the scenario of any kind of open activities that might be occurring for that project. So here I can see all my individual subcontract agreements, the balances of those items. Is there anything open or remaining? What kind of retainage might be applied with that particular subcontract? So we give you the tools to go out and now start to see things. What do I owe for a particular project, and how it's coming together, and what those outstanding balances are. But let's take a look. We might have many different subcontracts and subcontractors working on a particular project. Well, now I've gotten paid for that. So I need to understand, okay, not only all those invoices, but instead of having to go through and now identify those one by one, let's go ahead and decide what payments we're going to make. So what we do, right, and prepare payments, you'll see that there's tools. Well, this one has all the different activities, but now let's go out and maybe I want just the invoices related to the Flagler project as it's coming in there. I can simply select the project, and I want to see all the invoices, not just those within 7 days. And now I can see what I have out there for paint and tile and different window treatments. Who's working on what area of that particular project, and I can start to pick them. Okay, well, those guys and the windows and doors, those were in there. The fire suppression system has been build, and now we've received payment for that. Maybe some of the different items that are coming through from the tile and carpet. And now very easily select the project, what I want to pay, and now start to pull those things together. So nice little pay when paid. You got paid. Now let's go out and select what subcontractors and what vendors I'm going to pay for that particular workflow. Well, then you also run into the scenarios where there might be a subcontractor on the job, and in this case maybe it's the detailer and the tile and carpet. Well, you know what? I need to get out there and now back charge that particular subcontract agreement. Unfortunately, we know that these situations occur during a project life cycle. Now I need to come in and I, as the general contractor, needed to use my own labor or come in and repair some damage that was done to the entryway railing. So in this case, I just go in. Let's make an adjustment. We know Detail Carpentry billed us for this already, but I don't want to have to pay them for it. So now let me go out, enter in that particular subcontract. You'll see here on the screen, I have the subcontract identified that ties right back into that particular project. Lets me put in this case, it's $1,000 chargeback to that subcontractor. Now I have that detail information pulled in, tracked, and all that activity available to me within the subcontract itself. Because if we go back to the subcontract, now as we're looking for it, and here's that carpentry, they're doing some finished carpentry, they're doing the railing for us. Well, I have a whole audit trail, audit history of what things are happening. Well, if I go over it, I can see, well, they billed us the 93,000, but now I had to go in and put a back charge in for the 1,000. This allows me to get out and now start to see what those open balances are for the subcontract, and very easily start to maintain and take that workflow together. As with the adjustment, invoices and accounts payable, that debit adjustment can be applied to this one. Lets us know that maybe the contract is then fulfilled, all the work is done, or they need to go back out and start to pull those items together. Another offshoot of this would be to be able to take that, and I have that back charge. Well, maybe I'm going to go out and apply any kind of change order information to that, so I can really take it through that life cycle of subcontract, initial commitments, AP bills against those commitments, know when to pay what commitments and what vendors, as well as then roll that into any kind of adjustments or commitment change order that I might have to work with. Now, as you see, we've taken care of that particular scenario with the accounts payable visibility into the project specifics. We have the commitments tracked. We have that open accounts payable report. We have the ability to select the payments made by project and overall process and workflow capabilities, and making it easy for folks to track those commitments within Acumatica. All right, let's talk about another scenario and how Acumatica's Construction Edition is helping our clients. We come and we have customers that are using our product that want to understand how they compare against their peers. They're looking to streamline their business, understand what areas of organization are more profitable than others. We also have scenarios where one company might have multiple divisions with our field service application coming together and doing the work orders and the appointments tied to projects. So many companies have both a construction arm and a field service arm of their business. And with that come additional financial requirements and information that they want to understand. So what we'll talk about is Acumatica's relationship with CFMA, the Construction Financial Management Association, and how you can utilize the CFMA benchmarker product to help gather insight into what's going on within your organization. How Acumatica can help you set up different divisions and now start to cost things at those particular levels, and whether you're tracking business unit performance at that project or at that field service level, we'll look at ways you can do that. And then also, how does field service tie back to projects? Maybe I want to see a schedule board of work orders and appointments related to particular construction projects. I want to capture those costs against the project tied to by field service activities. So we'll go ahead and we'll look at a couple of examples there as well. As within Acumatica Construction Edition, you have the ability of tying that field service work from a contract to the appointment to the schedule directly to a project. So let's take a look and see what we can do. Our customers are always looking for ways to streamline their businesses, understand what parts of their organization can become more profitable, and how they compare to other companies. With that in mind, we've built a relationship with CFMA to help companies do just that. Within the Construction Edition, you're able to simply click on CFMA and now take that data from Acumatica and submit that to the benchmarker tool. This automation lets companies compare their financial data against the CFMA compiled industry financial data. Then, using the CFMA peer group comparison reports, you can see how you rank among similar industry peers, whether that be regionally or by revenue size. It will also allow you to compare your company against those that are best in class. CFMA and Acumatica working together. Keeping with that financial workflow, let's take a look at our Historical Society Automotive Museum and the tools that Acumatica has in place for tracking performance. Let's say you have several divisions in the organization and need to track costs and revenue accordingly. Well, something that Acumatica has added, in this case I'll just pick a mechanical task, is now the ability to come in and identify the default sales and cost accounts. You'll see I have specific ones set to sales mechanical and service mechanical. That way, as a user, when I'm making entries against those, I don't have to worry about which GL account things need to be applied to. Acumatica will pull those right in, and now that brings that information entered, and the associated accounts will be automatically populated. Along those lines, in this case using the mechanical information, well, I might have different divisions that are coming through, and now with those divisions, I have service work. So not only do I have my construction, but I have service information related. I wanted to call your attention. In this case, it's just a service order. So within service management, whether it's contracts, appointments, this case service orders, I have that ability to tie a particular project to that service order. Well, what task does it need to go to? Which cost code? And now you see that integral link between service management and construction. So let's take a look at what can happen with that. In this particular case, I have a service order for cooling and heating with that job. Now we're coming in and I need to identify something may have happened. So I put that with the project. I want to keep track of that time and the costs associated to my field service team and how it relates back to that individual project. So what I can do, a couple ways to go through there. I have appointments and I can just look at the list like you see on the screen now with my construction appointments filtering by a particular project. But what we've also done is now within the Acumatica calendar board, I can go out there and see, well, which appointments need to be assigned. This is telling me these individual ones are unassigned, have not been scheduled. Now let me go through. If I needed to search, I could filter by the project, individual classification of those workers, and then it's just simply a drag and drop right onto the board. So let me put this over on Joseph's board for that day. Now, as we're coming in and identifying that particular information, it's going to let us know, hey, that appointment is scheduled with Joseph. Now let's go through from that calendar board, track that time. I can see the details if I have the application, my start and stop times. What do I want to do? Any kind of travel time is certainly built in as we're going through. Well, now I have that individual appointment assigned to Joseph, what things are coming back, and now what kind of information do I want to apply to that particular appointment? Well, I want to capture the time spent, any materials that are used, and then have that not only on the field service side, but have that go back and relate to the project. So as that appointment is scheduled and then worked on and now eventually billed through the system, let's go ahead and look at that appointment details. Well, that appointment is tied with that particular project, in this case, the Historical Society Automotive. It's tracking the details of what staff was there, how long were they there, any kind of materials that are used, if we had any kind of resource, did they have to use any kind of compressor or things that they might have taken with it. But I want to draw your attention to the billing, and now notice it has a project transaction. Well, that's because I went through, I processed this appointment. It was tied to the project. Now I have that capability of going back and seeing, well, what was the impact on that particular project? And now go back and see the profitability of that particular task item or that line item of the project budget. You'll see with that project transaction, and just giving you a quick glimpse into the audit trail and that history it's there. It says for that particular automotive museum project, here's the project, the task that it went to, what did happen. In this case, I was doing some air conditioning installation service, and I have all that information tracked right there, tied to the appointment, tied to the project, tied to the service order. And again, if we had a contract with that, be able to see that as well. As you've seen here within the Acumatica software, I have the ability of not only the project financials and tying things specifically to construction. If I have that separate division or different capabilities within the organization for the service work, I can tie that service activity right back into the project as well. So we give you that complete view from construction to field service to the calendar board and scheduling there by project. What do I want to see? And now I have visibility into all areas of my organization, not only from the cost perspective, but then tying right back to that general ledger and the financials. Wanted to provide some additional information to everybody today. On the screen now, you'll see the Acumatica community. So a very user-friendly website that has that whole Acumatica user group and user community together. This is where you might do downloads of updates and provide us ideas on a new software application. And if you wanted to get some more detail on the construction edition itself, feel free to go to acumatica.com and then just pick the construction accounting software toolbar. With that, Mike and I would like to thank you for the time you've spent with us today. And if there are any questions that you have after a follow-up from the meeting today, please feel free to reach out to either of us. We value you all as a customer and welcome feedback.